we all can't wait for the season to tip off. As we wait, we figured we would review some gambling projections. All win totals are courtesy of Caesars Sportsbook. Now let's start with the Warriors, who anticipate the return of Klay Thompson in the first half of the season. Perk, over or under 48.5 wins for the Dubs?
Oh, this is a no-brainer. You got to go with the over. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson back, along with Draymond Green and the draft picks that they picked up, a healthy Wiseman who's going to come back on the mission. I'm picking the Golden State Warriors to be over 50 wins this season.
I want to be clear. No one should bet following advice from Perk or me. That said, I don't feel good about this pick. I don't feel great about it because I don't know when Klay's coming. I don't know when Klay's coming back. I don't know how long it's going to take till he's 90% of the old Klay we know and love. But I'm going over. And I'm going over because they won at a 44-win pace last season with all the rigmarole they were dealing with. Are we trying to build our young players up? Are we trying to win? Who's healthy? Who's not? And I thought in the second part of the season, the last 20, 30 games, when James Wiseman was injured, they rediscovered the team that they're supposed to be, the team that they are. And here's a stat for you. With Steph and Draymond on the floor and no Wiseman, they were plus 10 per 100 possessions. That's superstar elite stuff. I think they leaned back into their ball movement. I think they're going to start Kevon Looney at center just like they did during that stretch and play the young guys a little more sparingly because the Warriors have one goal this season. There aren't two goals. It's not two simultaneous goals of develop and win. It's win. And if you can help us win, you're going to play. And if you can't, you're not going to play as much. And I'm really just crossing my fingers. I'm trying to speak it into existence. We're going to see Klay again. We're going to see Klay close to 100% because we need Klay Thompson. The NBA and the sports world need peak Klay Thompson again. I miss him.
Go ahead, Perk.
Okay, two things. One, Zach said all that just to agree with me. That's the first thing. The second thing is this, right, Zach? Let me give you a little insight. That plus minus is the most overrated thing in the NBA, in my opinion. Like, we don't want to dive too much in plus minuses, okay? Like, give me the eye test. But with that being said, you still roll with me. So you right there in the books. It's going over 50 wins.
Okay, so we're going to look at the bigs there. This is one thing that I want to look at. I understand everything you guys said. I will take the over. But one of the things that you just talked about, Zach, and I have a question. They had the consensus #1 pick in the draft. And you are now just saying, well, we're waiting on Klay Thompson. We're going to start Kevon Looney. How do you not develop the future or the #1 pick in the draft that everyone had on their board? How do you not develop that?
He's going to play, and they're going to try and develop him. But he's going to play, and they're going to try and develop him. But just think about this. They took off last year when Kevon Looney started at center again. So let's say Kevon Looney, he's an 18-minute-a-game player. You got 30 minutes left at center. Some of that is going to be Draymond Green at center. Some of that might even be smaller lineups than that. How many minutes are there going to be for Wiseman at center? There are going to be some, maybe a lot if he plays well. And by the way, I'm not low on James Wiseman. I think he got a raw deal last year in terms of fan reaction to him. I think he was exactly what you should have expected for a raw, untested center who barely played college basketball at all. I think he's going to be a solid player. I'm just saying this year, given what Steph did last year, the goal is to win games.
I understand that, but I also look at DeAndre Ayton, and I look at the growth of DeAndre Ayton every single year. And then you get him into year 3, you get him into year 4, and now he has an opportunity to really contribute. And so you can't just put Wiseman on the back burner because now all of a sudden you have a 32, 33-year-old Klay Thompson. So I'm really, really curious to see how the Warriors bounce that out. But let's stay out west with the Nuggets, who have the reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, on their roster, but will be without Jamal Murray indefinitely as he recovers from a torn ACL suffered back in April. Now, Zach, over under 47.5 wins for the Nuggets.
It's a tough line. Tough line, especially given that Michael Porter Jr. went like this last year and is probably going to keep going like this. And Aaron Gordon fit in hand in glove. They look like one of the best teams in the NBA. But without Jamal Murray, I'm going slightly under. I think they could hit this mark for sure because Jokic is that good. Michael Porter Jr. is just a monster scorer. They're deep and they have an identity. But I'm going slightly under on the Nuggets in a competitive Western Conference.
Yeah, I'm going with the over. I think the Nuggets are a top 5 team in the Western Conference. They showed us this last year. I was one of the guys that actually doubted them when Jamal Murray went down. I said it was over for them. But when you look at Jokic and what he did, tearing up the league, being the best big man in the game today, in my opinion, like long as you got him and he's in shape, you got a chance of winning every single night, especially in the regular season. And by the way, Michael Malone doesn't get enough credit. He can coach his behind off. So with that being said, I'm going with the over.
Ooh, I'm going to go with the over also. And the reason why I'm going to go with the over is for the individuals that you talked about. Nikola Jokic, he's in great shape, which hasn't always been the case. I played my last season in the NBA with him. Stop it, Perk. With him, with Jamal Murray. So I understand how important he is and how Mike Malone. But the Aaron Gordon and the Porter Jr., those two guys will be the determining factors in whether or not they keep that path.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.